How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another supporters club. I did tell you guys we will be here in 2 weeks following our last one, the transfer checkpoint #1. We had Vieira sealed. Jesus was on the way to being sealed. He is sealed now, but we're at transfer checkpoint #2 and I've got the regulars back again. Chris Hudson in front of me there, Curtis to his left, Jordan to my right. And there isn't really a subject today to talk about. Last time out, it was Vieira, Seal, Jesus on the way. This time round, everything seems to have eased down in terms of Tielemans. Obviously, we know what's happening with Rafinha over the last couple of weeks or so with Chelsea and Barcelona. So there isn't really a subject matter today, but I do want to get our general thoughts and feelings. Is it time to worry? Are we still, is it time to still be patient? Jordan, I'm going to start with you as always on my right-hand side. How do you think the last couple of weeks have gone since we last talked?
It's been good and bad. I think it's been good that we've wrapped up Gabriel Jesus. That's been done. Again, I'll repeat, my main requirement was whoever you're going to get them in early. Get them in for the tour, let's get them in the bag and let's go. That's a big deal for a good fee. £45 million for a I don't think he's an elite striker. I'd probably put him in that bracket below. But £45 million for a striker with his record is a good transfer for Arsenal. It's been a long time since I thought we've done good business. That is not only a good signing, but it's good business too. Yeah. That's been done. Cool. I like that. We can move on from that. We now know who our main goal getter is going to be. I think it's been negative in the sense that the signings that we clearly wanted to wrap up off the back of that haven't been done yet. So I'm talking about the likes of Tielemans, who I'm not massively in favour of, although if he comes, he comes. I'll get behind it. But also Martinez.
Yeah.
That one's a little bit concerning, and it kind of plays to a point that I've kept on making for a while now about how public we are about our business. And I think that's played a role in why other teams now are coming in and taking our targets. Now, listen, he's a good player and Ten Hag obviously knows about him. So it's not to say that if we didn't bid for him or go in for him, United wouldn't have known about him. But I'm just like, you've kind of left yourself open now to kind of other people just coming in and swooping and taking your targets. I don't know why we're so public with our business. We're the only club that are this public about every signing. We drag it out for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. City, we want him, it's done. Phillips, I didn't even know there was a bid. I didn't even know, when was the bid? I just saw the deal was done. Next week, I see this. So we need to be a bit more intelligent, I think, about who we go for and how. And I really wanted him. And I think we're gonna miss out on him now. But we moved. There's still time, so I'm not panicking yet. No, but good that we've got our goal getter in the bag. For me now, we need at least one midfielder to come in.
Chris, Curtis, I mean, a couple of weeks ago we done this show off the back of it on Twitter, good old Twitter. I received a bit of backlash for saying if the club was ambitious, we'd go for a Gnabry. At that time, we was very much in the Rafinha talk, and that's why that Gnabry suggestion got knocked back. But my problem is that, like you said, a lot of things drag. And I'll disagree that it's only Arsenal. I look at Man United, I look at Chelsea this summer in particular. A lot of
the last 5-10 years,
of course,
those teams get
historically, we've been doing this the way we've been doing this, and it's never really proactive.
No.
Kroenke's a couple of weeks ago, it seemed like, the tide was turning, especially on Twitter. People seem to be getting behind him. I saw Arsenal fans putting KSC fan in their display name and whatnot. Very premature in my opinion, because only a couple of days later, the Rafinha supposed transfer hits a roadblock. Chelsea become favourites, and ever since, our name's not in the hat anymore. Chris, how are you feeling right now? With a month to go until the Premier League season starts, a week to go until a few days to go until actually a few days. The first pre-season game is tomorrow. I know this comes out on Sunday, people, but the first pre-season game is tomorrow. Are you worried?
No, I'm not worried at the moment, because this transfer window, you've got different stages. You got when it opens, so it's opened and we brought in 4 players. So the next stage is pre-season tour. I want to see one more player arrive by the time they go to America, preferably in midfield. Then the next stage is, unfortunately, September the 1st. Because after the tour, the season's on you, and you don't really buy many players. With the fixtures coming up, not many deals are going to get done. So I'm happy at the moment. I want to see, obviously, a midfield player signed. And I don't. It's not. Tielemans is going on and on. I don't want Arsenal to be cocky and just think, we'll sit back, he's ours. Because while you're sitting back, Man United I mean, this summer's got to be the hijack summer, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you think we're bad? Look at Chelsea. They're trying to hijack De Jong.
All of a sudden.
Everywhere you go. And on the other point, I do think Arsenal are working a little bit quietly behind the scenes. You know, this secret player, whoever it is. So I'm all right at the moment, but for obvious reasons, I've got to have a midfield. I don't want to go to Palace with a midfield from hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That puts it lightly. Curtis,
Jack around
he talked about the secret player. Romano's mentioned that there's a player on the horizon for Arsenal. I think Paul Merson mentioned it to Lee Judges as well. Patient or time to start worrying, Curtis?
I mean, in terms of like this secret or mystery player, I don't buy into all that. You know, I fell for them tricks year after year. This guy's coming. Well, you know, with Arsenal, the problem is we've had a lot of failed transfers. You know, like Jordan's saying there, a lot of our transfers are out in the open. Where other clubs, when they link with a player, they tend to get that deal done. I don't think it's time to panic yet. I think it's still early. We've only just gone on tour. We've got Jesus in. Vieira, a bit of an unknown quantity, but we've got him in. I just think there's still gaps in our team that need to be addressed. I think, you know, even if you're getting squad players at the end of the window, address the positions in your starting 11. I think Jesus is the only signing that you look at and you think he definitely starts for us at Palace. You know, Vieira, is he going to start? Are they going to give him time to integrate? So we're only really one player different from the team that finished the end of last season. So to me, we're not.
And there's an argument, sorry to cut you,
Yeah,
to go back. There's an argument that, you know, going into last season, we had Oba. So as much as people will argue that Gabriel Jesus is an upgrade on Lacazette, and I agree with that, but he isn't an upgrade on Aubameyang. So as much as, yes, we've got a new striker in, I thought we needed two going into this summer. But we've cooled down on the striker front. Okay, Rafinha brings goals from an attacking position. Maybe it's another attacking forward we go for. Midfield is another area. So as much as Chris says one more in before the pre-season tour in America, how many for you do we need in before Crystal Palace to be confident about the season? And by confident, I mean, you know, top four and being able to challenge for a trophy.
For me, Crystal Palace, I think we need 3 in before that.
And how many of those 3 come into the first 11?
The midfielder has to stop.
Yeah.
I think the winger has to stop.
Okay.
You know, I know there's competition there and you've got Saka, Martinelli and that, but if they spend big money on a winger, you know, listen, I'm a big Martinelli fan. He didn't have a great season in terms of numbers and output, and I think Arteta's looking for those guys to produce numbers now.
As the Brazilian boy done on pre-season, that, you know, what's his name, Marquinhos?
Oh yeah, the first one we got.
Yeah, and he's really impressed, isn't he?
We hope
he's a winger, isn't he?
Yeah, because Martinelli was similar when we signed him. They said young player, we kind of stepped up.
Is Marquinhos a right winger?
I think he's a right winger, yeah.
So then our interest in Rafinha makes me think further that Marquinhos is not one for this season. It's one for 2-3 years to come. Chris mentioned 4 signings. I actually look at it as 2 signings because Turner, essentially, we knew that was coming from January, and Marquinhos, okay, we signed him, 3.5 million fee, but I put that on the back burner. I look at that as one for the future. Third year of the process, I'm looking at now, not 2-3 years down the line, and Marquinhos will be one of those. So I'm looking at, we've got 2 in, that improves our first 11 and depth. You're saying you want 2 before Palace. You're saying 3 before Palace. Before Palace, Jordan?
I think, Curtis, 3. I think we need 3. But I would say, I think we need another winger would be nice. I'd love Gnabry to come in. I was never really on the Rafinha thing anyway, so I'm not upset that's gone away. I think 65 million. I just found that whole one a bit weird. We're not weak on the wide areas, so to spend that much money on a player who's had 1.5 good years, I was like, nah. So I was never really on that one. I would suggest we need at least 1 midfielder to go into our starting 11. I know most people want 1. I'm being greedy. I want 2. I think Xhaka and El Nene should be our backup. I can't quite work out what's happening with Partey at the moment, not only because of what's happening off the field, but his injuries still concern me. But I want to ask you guys, and whilst I don't think it's a priority area, do we need to be looking at a centre-back? And I know Saliba's come back, and I know that he had a brilliant year in France last year, but I'm a foundation man. I'm still a man that build the foundation, be hard to beat, and then you can put the goals on top. If 4th is what we're saying is the bare minimum, do we trust that Saliba, albeit an unknown quantity, because as we can see he's good, but in the Prem, he's an unknown quantity. Gabriel and/or Ben White, is that a good partnership, two of those three, to get us top 4? I know it almost got us top 4 last year, but do we need to go out and get a defender that we are more confident can come in, slot in next one of those 3 people, and they're like, yeah, our spine is certified now. Gabriel Jesus, a bad boy midfielder, and a centre-back.
I just want to throw one back at you on that subject. Lissandro Martinez, what did you think the plan was for him coming in? Because he was player of the year at Ajax, he was player of the year in the centre-back position. I know people talk about DM and left-back, but he's been played there few and far between, let's say.
I think he was coming in to be a centre-back.
Arsenal really want him, you know.
So did I, yeah.
He covers left-back, centre mid defence, and he can play in
just
position.
ahead. And he's playing at the back, his ball's over
Where
the top.
would he play? Because does he replace Gabriel?
That's
Does he play
why I
next
asked.
to him? I'm not sure where he goes into the team.
I like Gabriel. I like him. But can we do better than Gabriel? I think is the question we need to ask. Maybe we can't, but maybe we can. So as much as I think we all like Gabriel, he's had 2 good seasons at Arsenal, we need to kick on. And I think we put the pressure now is on Arteta. So I'm saying at the start of the season, no excuses. Start the season with a team that we can all look at and be like, that team can get 4th. Because as things stand right now, we're not coming 4th.
Would you not say Gabriel is the better of the 2 centre-backs? If
Him
I
or
was
White?
going to push one of them out, I would say White is the one that can more get pushed out.
But that's not a debate for me. The debate is Gabriel good enough to be our number 1? Can we upgrade on Gabriel and make him our second centre-back? Do you know what I mean?
What could muddy the waters that Bielsa tried Ben White in midfield
Oh, yeah.
At Leeds.
at Leeds, and he was outstanding. So you could push Ben White there and have Gabriel and Saliba.
I'm never really a big fan of the whole, you can do a job there.
Yeah.
If you want a midfielder, get a midfielder. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you need a right back, get a right back. If you can do another role and needs must, then cool. But I wouldn't want to go into a season thinking our centre back, let's put him in midfield because he can do a job there. Get a midfielder. It's cheating for me. It's lazy. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just wondering if we need to. I don't want to get to December and then we're not doing as well as we thought we could and should be doing, and then we're looking at and thinking actually Ben White and Gabriel, is it that good? But I'm asking that question now.
Yeah.
Is that a centre back pairing that can get us top 4?
You know what? I asked the question because with Martinez, I lean more towards Jordan in terms of if he was player of the year as a centre back, surely he's coming in to play that sort of a role. But then I look at Jesus coming in. He's not an out-and-out goal scorer. You can see Arteta's his model is based off of Pep's and the goals from attack. One key component that we miss from Pep's side is an inverted fullback. Now, Martinez might have been that inverted fullback because when you don't have the striker that gets 20 goals, an extra body in the opposition half helps. And that inverted in Cancelo, for example, that helps. It aids the attack. So maybe Martinez was being brought in for that left-back role, inverted. Not necessarily cover for Tierney, but a different type of a fullback to Kieran Tierney.
But they want that Benfica left-back as well, don't they? £7 million.
Grimaldo.
Yeah. It's the sort of, if they don't get him, there's just so many. It's just
because Hickey's on his way to Brentford now.
I don't think Arsenal really wanted him.
No. I think he's too like for like.
Similar to Tierney, isn't he?
But
the thing is that, there are some, and I always go on about this, about the youth team and that.
You and your youth player.
Murray Hutchinson, but I was a bit shocked he wasn't taken to he played against Woking the other night, so perhaps he's not in the plans.
Well, yeah, we have got a few young players already in the side, and I don't think it's the right time to be bedding in more. But Arsenal and the current structure of the club, I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more getting more game time in the first team squad. We saw Patino step in for a couple last season. Flores has received rave reviews recently. Norton Coffey's coming back in.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned.
Yeah, Amari Hutchinson. There's a few names in the youth side that tickle our taste buds a bit in terms of interest in the first team, but at the same time, there's already young players in the first team that we need to help out.
Yeah.
And you don't help young players in the first team by bringing in young players from the youth team.
Yeah.
And that's why Martinez, for me, what is he, 24 going into mid-20s? Would have been perfect. If you ask me here now, who would you want in next? Aside from Gnabry, I'd say Martinez. If you ask me,
all day
Rafinha,
long.
Martinez, Tillemans, Martinez.
I'd go Martinez before Gnabry, you know?
Would you?
Yeah, and I want Gnabry, but I'm looking at what we need. I think Gnabry elevates us.
Do we need a world-class player?
In the right position, yes. I think Gnabry starts, and I think there's definitely elevation in our first 11, 100%.
Yeah.
But I want the right players, not necessarily good players, if that makes sense. And I think Martinez fits the mold of the right player that we need, rather than getting a great player in that actually we're strong in that position. You're not agreeing with me?
I'm Gnabry FC. I want that name that lifts everything. I think Gnabry would lift the whole fan base.
You're right.
Do you know what I mean? I
Thing
don't
is,
think we've had that
We
player.
still haven't sold anyone.
Yeah, that's another thing.
That's
And
right.
if people out there, Twitter, Insta, wherever you're watching this, we know it's a dream. Gnabry's a dream, and in all honesty,
But is it a dream? Is it a dream?
it's a dream because of the club, the way it's run.
Okay, okay.
It shouldn't be.
It doesn't
though.
have to be a dream.
It doesn't
but
have to.
And the fact 14's been given. That,
You're getting your numbers.
That, no, 100%. This club's about money. Kroenke's about money. There's no. If you put Gnabry with the number 14, shirt sales galore.
Yeah.
So the fact that they've given that 14 away before, essentially bringing in someone to take that shirt, that tells me that Gnabry's off the cards. He ain't coming in to be number 26 or whatever it is.
Yeah. That ain't gonna
So
sell.
we know it's a dream, people. We're just, discussing options and whatnot. Another one that's come up, Milinkovic-Savic. I'd love someone like him. I'd probably put him over Tillemans as my first choice in that position. Lazio, surely we can get him off a club like Lazio. He's been there.
2 years ago, they wanted £100 million for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because of economics, they'd take about 60 million for him there.
Yeah.
If you're saying to me 60 million for him, or was it 30 for Tillemans, I'm taking Savic. I think that's better value for money than 25 for. I think he's significantly better than Tillemans. I think. I know he doesn't come with Prem experience, but I think he's what we need more than Tillemans.
Yeah, no,
Personally.
I agree. So next player, Curtis. Me and Chris have alluded to who we would want next in terms of Martinez type. Who would you want next profile-wise in terms of position on the pitch? Where do you think we need to address next?
It's that midfield.
8.
That midfield for me just is panic button all the
8
time.
or 6? Or both? Considering Partey's situation at this moment in time.
Yeah, no, maybe both. Maybe both. I mean, the problem you've got Lukonga, who they're going to keep for another year. They've given El Neni a new deal, and Xhaka got a new deal last year, and you've got Partey, so you've got 4. So, and Vieira can kind of play 8 and stuff. So I don't see them buying 2 centre midfielders. That's the problem. They'll probably only sign 1. I would have bought 2. But for me, that midfield has been a problem for a number of years. I was saying this earlier. When we had Cazorla, we always wanted a powerhouse next to him. Coquelin was all right, but we got it in Partey. But now we need the Cazorla type of player who can dictate possession.
Odegaard,
And make
isn't that
things,
guy?
I think he's more advanced. I don't think he can do it from deep positions. So for me, the midfielder, I think we're desperate for it. I think...
Would you then almost retrain, I'm going to kind of kill my own argument here, but Odegaard to come a bit deeper and then put Smith Rowe more central?
Nah.
You wouldn't do that?
No, I wouldn't do that. I don't think Odegaard in the Prem, when he goes in, you've seen it in some of the games last season against Joel Linton and people like that. When he's in that middle and people are...
You don't want it?
Nah, I don't think... I think he's better getting between the lines, playing a bit more advanced.
I can see him being moved to an 8. I can
Yeah.
see that, and Vieira being moved into the position he's currently in.
What City do, innit?
Yeah.
With 1 in the pivot.
Yeah.
But I'm just not sure. If we had like Partey with Vieira and Odegaard, just defensively, I would be a little bit...
But something that Savic and Tillemans both bring is a threat from outside the box. They take shots from outside the box. And when you look at our current midfield set, Partey, all right, he takes shots from outside the box, but he shouldn't. Xhaka, he takes once in a while to take a shot from outside the box. El Nene, rarely. Odegaard, rarely.
Lukonga.
Vieira, he's more of a, swing it into the 6 yard, 8 yards out, get an assist. Tillemans and Savic bring that. Now it kind of leans towards we need goals, but at the same time, defensively, there's questions to be asked as well. So in terms of a midfielder, are we just talking about an attack-minded midfielder, someone that's going to aid the attack more than it's going to protect the defence, or the reason you're saying 2 because you need one for that and you need one for the other?
I want a bit of presence in midfield, someone that can actually, a ball-playing midfielder, and I've mentioned him before, maybe his injury problems have kind of made him a problem now. And indeed, he's someone that I think on the ball can play, but is also a presence and someone that in front of the back four can do a job. I'll move on from him, but that kind of player, as well as a player that on the ball more advanced can do what Cazorla did. Because I think we've got in Odegaard a kind of poor man's Cazorla. I think a bit deep where Cazorla, you couldn't get the ball off him. Even deep, you couldn't get the ball off him. I think if you put 2-3 men around Odegaard, you can get the ball off him quite easily.
If you look, a lot of the games we lost last season, with Tottenham bullied, isn't they?
Yeah.
Newcastle, when we went up north, Liverpool,
Palace.
Palace. We need a lot of Vieira.
Do you know who we should have signed?
Still.
Do you know who we should have signed? And I can't believe the disrespect and the lack of enthusiasm around this guy signing. We should have got Eriksen. And everyone's kind of like, oh, it's not a great sign. That for me is one of the signs of the summer. There are not many players in world football that take the ball under pressure and can be productive with it.
For free as well.
For free. If Eriksen hadn't been in the Premier League and was signed by United from Inter for 60 million, people would be going crazy about that signing. Because it's a free, and he was here before, it's only Eriksen. That is a brilliant signing. That is an excellent signing. I don't know why we weren't in for him on a free as well. That's sort of guy that I want. Takes the ball under pressure and can use it.
I think that's our Vieira signing. That's what he's meant to be, isn't it?
Yeah. And plus he's 30, Eriksen. Arteta wants these younger players.
But I think we need a 30 player. I think we need some more 30-year-olds in our team. Do you know what I mean?
Would you go with Janino or Kante at Chelsea?
Kante would be...
They wouldn't sell Kante to
Yeah.
us.
No.
Janino, they might. Remember, he nearly came us a couple of years ago, didn't he?
I wouldn't
They
be
want to
angry
go back
at
to Italy, don't they, I think?
Because, at Chelsea, it's a little bit weird at the moment, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be angry at
They
you.
would sell a few as well, I think.
Arteta loves Janino, but, it's fantasy, isn't it? I can sit here and say 50 players, but it doesn't matter what I say.
Yeah. What does matter is something you mentioned, the exits and the lack of exits so far.
Frightening.
I've woke up and read Andres Pereira, who's somewhat of he's been a hot prospect at United for like 8 years.
Yeah.
He's been on loan 4 out of the last 5 years, but they've still managed to get 10 million from Fulham for him, plus 3 million potentially in add-ons, whereas Guendouzi's left to Marseille for under that amount. We've still got Maitland-Niles, Torreira, we've still got Hector Bellerin. I mean, these exits could fund Tielemans without even affecting the current budget.
In total alone.
If you do your job properly, yeah.
Do you know what? Sadly, I don't think that you'll get them off the books to the 31st of the 8th, 23.59. They'll still be here.
Yeah.
Some of them, I think,
That's the
will
risk.
be.
There's a lot of clubs are waiting, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then they make a bid, and Arsenal hopefully will accept it.
And also Arsenal have kind of written off so many players the last year and a half, i.e. paying them off.
Yeah.
They don't want to continuously just be like, all right, Bellerin, we'll pay you to go. All right, Torreira, we'll pay. They don't want to get into that habit of just paying people off to go every single window. So they're going to want to try and wait until they can get some money for some of those players.
They set the precedent though. It's not our fault that was done.
Yeah.
No.
Which shows you what a terrible window the Unai Emery window was, wasn't it? Look at the players we bought that summer. Pepe, Guendouzi, Saliba,
Martinelli,
there was
Tierney.
Who's the bad really? A lot of these players we're trying to get rid of were bought in that
Torreira,
window.
yeah. A few
I
of them.
think a lot of these guys will go on loan. I think.
Again?
Yeah, I think Pepe, players like that, big wages. I don't think people will be queuing up to buy them on a permanent.
I think people would buy Pepe, but I think you've got to be prepared, or the club have got to be prepared to take a massive hit. Just 25 mil.
I'm not even sure you get 25 mil for him.
No.
With his wage.
It's going to be a loan
option
to buy.
Loan option to
Give
buy.
him a little and we'll get for the Bosnian.
Get him in.
Can I ask you guys, sorry to
Yeah.
about just going back to Jesus and how confident you guys are in him being our goal getter? Because I'm looking at an issue for us last year was scoring goals and creating goals more so. But I'm seeing Spurs, there's firepower there. There's 50 goals in that front three, minimum, I would say. Between Richarlison, Kane and Son, there's minimum 50 goals there.
Kulusevski in there.
There you go. So there's goals there. At the back, I still think there's a little work to do, but up top, if Ronaldo stays at United, he'll score goals. They'll score goals at United. We know that Liverpool and City have got their gunmen. Are we confident that Gabriel Jesus is the guy? Because I don't think we're going through the idea of sharing goals around. I don't think we're doing that. So do we think that Gabriel Jesus will score the 15, 20, 25 goals?
I think
Are we confident? League. I'm talking league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he will.
If he plays the games injury-free, then I expect minimum 15.
Yeah, but other people have got to step up as well. Martinelli, 5 goals ain't good enough for me.
It's not.
Eddie, you got to hope. And midfield, people's got to start scoring from midfield. Saka's got to improve. Smith Rowe, all of them.
That's where the confidence, that's where the question for me lies. You know, it's not just a question of does Jesus answer the goal scoring problems. There's doubts about that because he's coming from Manchester City, who creates they create an abundance of chances. He wasn't an out-and-out striker most of the time there. His numbers bode well, but at Arsenal is very different. At Arsenal, the quality-wise is very different. But as well as that, you've just asked, Son, Kane, Kulusevski and Richarlison. Chris has made a very good point. We hope that Jesus takes a step up, but we're also hoping that Martinelli develops further. We're also hoping that Saka adds to his game because Saka had a very productive year last year, and he kind of set the standard for himself. So we're going to kind of expect that again, but he's a young player with a lot on his shoulders. So is it fair to expect that from him? Then you have Odegaard who rarely shoots. Yeah. And yes, he got goals and assists here and there last season, but if you're asking me, am I as confident with Martinelli, Saka, Jesus and Odegaard as Tottenham fans would be with Kane? There's no way you can match that confidence.
No. I think a lot of the Jesus thing as well, it's not just about his goals, it's about it makes us harder to play against. I think if he was playing against Arsenal last year and Lacazette was up front, if I'm a centre-back, I'm thinking he's not going to make life that difficult for me. Now, Pep said Jesus one of the best pressing forwards in the world. So I think it's about more than the goals. I think you look at last season, it felt like we didn't have a striker a lot of the time. You had Aubameyang. Maybe we didn't. You had Aubameyang going through his issues. Lacazette was in midfield half the time, and then Eddie came in at the end and did what he did. So I think it's about more than goals from Jesus. So he does need to contribute.
So you're a striker. Do you believe in this guy that in the big games he'll get the goals?
I think he can if we create the chances. Okay. He's not necessarily a guy who just picks it up and. But if you're putting the ball in the box, I think his movement... And he's hungry.
He's got a mentality that I like.
Well, he's a winner.
Definitely.
Yeah. That adds to it as well. But he's got that hunger to get at the end of things. And if he's not getting at the end of things, he's got the hunger to drop back and win it. Press and so on.
What would do us a right favour if the media start this with Richarlison, Jesus, who's the best striker.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? There's a little competition. So... Jesus is better than Richarlison. I don't care. I'm not saying it because I'm biased.
Yeah.
That's fact. So they'll be good at it. You know what I mean? That might push him on a little bit.
But they're both 25 years of age, so...
He'll play more, won't he? Richarlison will be rotated.
He's already suspended for the first
game. For the...
But you're right, he'll play more. But then again, listen, I don't really like looking at other clubs because I think at Arsenal, you need to look at your club. But if Tottenham are signing a 60 million player for depth,
it's a serious move.
Let's think how far we've come to this point here. Yeah. When have Arsenal been buying 60 million players for depth?
A guy at work who supports Spurs made that exact point to me last week. So he said he can't remember another signing, a Spurs signing they've made for so much money that isn't starting.
Yeah.
He said, it's the first time I can remember that we've spent big money on for depth. And I was like, oh, that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Move. It is.
A powerful move.
That's on our bench. We've got a £60 million striker on our bench.
Just coming on.
Yeah. That's.
But is he worth £60 million?
I think in this market...
His goal record ain't that great.
Yeah, do you know what's hard in this market? Someone asked me that as well. Someone asked me yesterday, what's a better deal, 45 million for Jesus or 45 million for Sterling? This was the argument. My response is, listen, it doesn't really matter what they've done. The value will come from what they're about to do. We're going to find out this season coming and then the season after that, whether they was worth 45 million or not. If you look at it on paper now, of course, Sterling 45 million for what he's produced so far, it's a better deal than 45 for Jesus. But Jesus is at a different point of his career. He's about to take on more responsibility, whereas Sterling's been taken out of his comfort zone. So 45 million for both or 60 million for Richarlison, it's what they do now that matters. And that's where they justify it. It's hard to really justify it from previous because
it'll be interesting how Eddie does with his new contract. It's just whatever you think of him, he's been shown a lot of faith.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of confidence.
It's 100 grand a week. You've gone from nowhere to 100 grand a week footballer playing with Arsenal, and you'll be leading the line.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, he's our second option, isn't he?
Well, that's the thing. They're bringing on Richarlison, we're bringing on Eddie. So we can weigh it up.
I would start Eddie, against Palace.
Well, for Jesus.
Yeah, I would. I'd start him because I think psychologically it could be really good for him to know that despite this star striker coming in, I still believe in you. I've given you a big contract. You're Arsenal through and through. Go and you got the shirt. If you do well today and we win the game and you score, you'll stay as the main guy. I think it makes Gabriel Jesus hungry as well, thinking, "Rah, I've just come in as a big boy and I'm not even starting." I think you could play some games with their minds by starting Nketiah. It's a gamble in the first game, I accept that. But I think you could really put something up Eddie Nketiah if you say, no, you're not don't think you're my second guy. You're one of my main guys. I'm starting you against Palace. Now show me what you can do.
It's a good point, but I just wouldn't.
But they'll be playing games in my mind then as well.
Because Jesus could be on the phone to his agent going, "Yo, I've just come from Man City. These men have got me on the bench."
It's the first couple of games. Everyone's got to fight for their place. No one's guaranteed to start.
But you know what's very important to me this season?
Winning
Winning our first game of the season is so important for me.
Look at last season, man, at Brentford. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, look at the past few seasons. It's not just about the first game, it's about how you start the season as well. And we've got to run the first 5 fixtures. I mean, I look at it,
bad if you get
and I say minimum 13. And the reason I say that is because it's the third year of the process.
Don't put that on Twitter, by the way.
It'll find its way there in the end, don't worry. And that will be deemed negative.
Click that, please.
Can you imagine me saying 13 out of 15 points minimum is going to be deemed negative?
It's true.
You look at the teams there, it's no Chelsea, no Man City.
But Man U, isn't it? It's our first game. And actually, we don't go out of London much.
The first big game.
First few fixtures.
No.
For me, even if there was a Man U or a City or a Chelsea, even if we had to go out of London, just win the games. And then we got to start making excuses about, just win the games. I'm with you now. It's the third year of this process. Start the season right now. Stop making excuses. I don't care where you've got to go. Let's say, okay, so what if we had City, Chelsea, Wolves, Palace, and United as our first 5 games? What we're going to say, okay, we'll take 4 points. No, you say go and win the games. They're hard, but go and win the games.
I mean, you look at
you've been backed.
And you look at the state of the other clubs. I mean, Man City, Liverpool pushed them to the side. Aside from them, Arsenal are in the third year of a process. Tottenham have brought in Conte and they've spent a decent amount. Man United and Chelsea are in a bit of a disarray at the moment. So really, behind Man City and Liverpool, it looks like it's there for the taking.
He's getting no excuses for me this year. No excuses.
Yeah, and clip that as well.
Clip that.
Serious, I'm hard this year.
Yeah. He's done his exams now.
Yeah.
He's done his revision.
The mocks are done.
Done. Boom.
And he's been backed. And he will get to spend more money in this window. He will spend more money. Do you know what I mean? So you've been backed. Come on, man, get the job. It's Palace. Palace are a good team. My man is Sports Palace behind the camera. But Palace are a good team. Go and win the game.
So for you to,
don't give me no nonsense.
Well, I know I've spoken to you about if Arteta doesn't get top 4 or win the Europa League, do you think his time's up?
He'll be under serious pressure.
I don't want to get into the whole
I'm just asking the question.
For me, he's got to get 4th or the Europa League.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't,
then
I don't know where we're going. So
if he doesn't, then Kroenke out.
Well,
I'll always go back to him. I'll always go back to him. Reason being, because listen, Arteta is the face of this. He's supported the men above him. I get that. But that's what a company man does. That's what someone who's been put in a position, that's what they do. But the reality is, if it doesn't work, if it falls flat on his face, then a lot of that will be due to the inexperience. A lot of that will be due to the learning curve.
Being fair, I'll tell you, as a manager, he's half encountered some things that not a lot of other managers have.
Character building for him in that role.
I mean, he really has. Well, pandemic.
Ozil.
How many managers have had to cope with that? He's
having COVID?
Yeah, no, because when pandemic hit,
hit everyone.
Football, but it's still not many matter. Then there's loads of other things. He's stripped the squad through what I call time waste.
No, he did have tough. Ozil was a tough one.
But an experienced manager would have been able to deal with it easier.
He's had some. There's been some difficult things as a young manager as well. He had to deal with. I take that. But I'm sorry, I'm hardline now. This is your third year now. This is your third year.
I'll try to be fair.
Have you passed on your membership to Chris now, yeah? He was coming in.
It's been difficult, but you've been backed and supported by the club. That should give you confidence that actually I'm doing an okay job. Now kick on. It's the third year now. Come on.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse this year now.
There isn't.
So are we saying right now, with Vieira and Jesus in, that Kroenkes have backed him this summer?
Oh yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
So far.
They've got to spend more, and I think they will.
I think they will.
I think they will.
As it stands now, we still, for me, have the 5th best squad in the league.
But as you rightly, Kroenke is a businessman, and he will want to see some people go out the door.
Yeah,
He will see. He want to see some money come in.
Yeah.
Which is another little worry, but we'll leave that.
But hopefully, listen, we're back in 3 weeks this time, people, because in 2 weeks we're going to be out in Orlando for the pre-season tour. So hopefully in 3 weeks, a couple more signings under our belts, a couple exits that make up for the cost of those signings, fingers crossed, we can get that done. And some more movement, some more players for the start of the season, people. Thank you to Chris, Curtis and Jordan as always. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button, all of that, people. And yeah, on to the next one. See you guys in 3 weeks for transfer checkpoint number 3.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.